So yesterday I talked about Mercy, I talked about the main updates to her kit, and you know, some people don't like the update, some people like Mercy to stay as she was, stay what she was doing, and that's perfectly fine. You know, I don't want to fight against that opinion, you can like what you like, but I am kind of liking this new update. However, there is one thing about the update that I cannot forget to mention, which I essentially did in my last video. It's the ultimate. Mercy Ultimate, at least from what I thought a few days ago, wasn't way too great. You know, I thought it was a decent one. You know, I thought, you know, those bonus stats, moving a bit faster, dealing a bit more to your multiple teammates, you know, that's not that great. It's okay. And that's all I really thought, and that's all I really said in my last video. But after putting my eye to a magnifying glass and actually looking at this thing for a little bit longer, I came to realize just how strong this stinking ability is. And I think that it is definitely one of the best abilities in the game, one of the top 3 best ultimates, maybe even the top 2 or the top 1, because the versatility, the amount of just everything it gives Mercy, and of course also that it lasts 20 seconds, which, yeah, it's an ultimate that lasts 20 seconds and gives you so much. It's good. That's what I could say. The lowest level it's good, and the best level I think it's quite broken, and really I think it needs some nerfs before it comes to life. But let's talk about why that is that way. Now, of course, the first thing that I feel like just is kind of not great about fighting this ultimate, the first thing that makes this ultimate so overpowered in my opinion, is that her beam range is now twice as long. Now, I know that there's so many other things that are great about this ult, but this is the thing I want to talk about first. Now that her beam range is about twice as long, and that she can heal multiple people, it just allows so that she can stay so far back that none of your hit scan on the enemy team can really go to her and find her and kill her, because hit scan can't really gank and actually kill the flying Mercy, while at the same time none of your flankers can really kill her as well because she's flying. And then of course you can just heal from extremely far distances in the back line. It makes so that killing Mercy is almost impossible for a lot of characters, just being so far back that, especially on a map like, let's say, Hanamura, if she's just flying all the way in the sky and everybody's kind of close to each other, but Mercy's all the way back there, it can just be where Mercy's out of the line of sight of the whole enemy team, and to get to her, they'd have to spend so much that it just essentially not be worth it. And what do you do instead? You maybe wait out the Mercy ult, you do something like that, maybe you try to get a Widow pick. Other than that, it's very hard to deal with. You can just kind of see how oppressive that could be, that, you know, Mercy just flying all the way out in the boonies, way behind her team, or way to the side of her team. It's really hard to deal with, and it's very hard to counterplay. And on certain maps, it feels like there's really almost no counterplay to this, other than just hope that you can maybe get a pick, or just wait for it to go away. Now, as well with this, I want to say, her being able to heal her entire team at the same time, that is good. That is very good, and especially if they're just fighting on point, let's say, and Mercy again is super far away from them, just flying away by herself, and then she's just healing them all at the same time, kind of like a mini Zen ult, but where she can't really be crowd controlled, and where she's has, you know, Zen ult for a much longer amount of time. Yeah, that's strong. I think we could generally accumulate to thinking. And it's very hard to counterplay, because what you can do is that you can send your entire team off to fight the Mercy, but then Mercy can just fly away, and if you don't have any hit scan that can instantly kill her, she won't die. Or you fight the enemy team, and when you go for that, well, they're all getting healed a lot more than what your team is getting healed, because, you know, they're getting all the Mercy heals, plus maybe like all a Zen heal, or all a Lucio heal, or something like that, or maybe an Ana E, which makes Mercy's heal even better. It just does that. And I feel like that, again, is very hard to deal with, and makes so that there's so much pressure on hit scan that I feel like it really will make hit scan almost necessary in every single team if Mercy is picked up quite a bit. But even if hit scan is picked up, if she just stays at further enough ranges that hit scan can't kill her, then it kind of sucks, because hit scan won't be able to kill her, mainly for this other change that I feel like should not have been changed at all, which makes so that hit scan has a very low chance of actually killing Mercy if she's at far range. And that is that now, probably one of the most OP parts, probably the most OP part about this entire thing, her health regen doesn't get interrupted when she ults now. That just removes really almost all the counterplay to her, except for maybe Widow sniping her, in my opinion. How this works now is that if you're a McCree, and the person's at far range, the Mercy's at far range, you can't simply hit a few shots, like 1, 2, 3 body shots, and then she'll eventually die. No, you gotta get close enough where you can hit essentially, you know, maybe 3 body shots immediately in a row, or you have to hit like 2 headshots in a row. which is very hard as she can start moving away, she can start flying, she can start shooting at you and deal more DPS per second than you, while she's healing more per second than you can really deal for the most part. Yeah. As well with that, just trying to get in range to shoot that distance can be hard. Again, let's use Hanamura for an example. If you're stuck at the first choke as offense, you know, you're the McCree or you're the soldier, and you see, you know, the Mercy all the way out there, how do you really get to her without killing all of her teammates first? You can't. You know, that's just kind of how the game works. It's very hard to do that. I guess you could dive comp to the back line, but even if you dive comp, none of the dive comp characters can really kill Mercy. You know, Tracer, Genji, anyone like that really can't. And again, if you're playing hit scan DPS, it's very hard to get back there. And even if you do, Mercy can fly away, out damage you. Not always, but somewhat. And as well, this is just considering that she's by herself. If there's a tank there, it's even easier. As well, she can fly super far away to save herself more. And yeah, it's just overall very hard to kill her now because she has healing while she's ulting for the entire time. It's quite hard to counterplay overall. And yeah, I feel like that's the thing that if we nerf one thing at the beginning, that one has to go first. Now, I guess some other stuff as well, is that even if you are playing against Mercy, whatever, and you know, you're kind of getting used to fighting her, the movement speed on her ultimate is essentially just Pharah, but better. So it's very hard to hit, I'm gonna say. You know, a lot of people already have trouble trying to hit Pharah with any projectile. It's almost impossible, a lot of people say, especially at further ranges. It's essentially just a luck shot. But now with Mercy, it's even harder because she has more mobility, she can control herself a lot better, she can move faster, she can just do a lot more. And as well with that, one thing I have to mention, her Guardian Angel range now is basically infinite. Not exactly, but if you see somebody from really far away, like super far away, you can fly to them for the most part at most ranges. Now this makes so that if you just, you know, if Mercy's, for example, just staying way far in the back line, you know, completely away from her team, but she sees one teammate, you could spend your entire time getting up to her, and then she could just fly completely away. And there we go, she's out. There's not much you can do against that. And as well, with all this mobility, she can fly around, you're about to kill her, she can fly away, or she can just fly around to all of her teammates at all over the map, and again, be really hard to take over. There's just a lot of stuff you can do with that, and yeah, I think that is very strong. Now, another thing we want to mention that I haven't really been talking about is her DPS. And this DPS is, you know, it's good. Her pistol damage is on par, for the most part, or better than most of the DPS heroes in the game right now, which is kind of ridiculous. It doesn't make really way too much sense. I don't know why they did this to Mercy. She doesn't have to reload, she doesn't really have to do anything like that. And of course, we've already seen some clips where when there's Mercies that can aim really well and that are ulting, you can just completely wipe the enemy backline and just the enemy team, because if they don't have hit scan, you fly around and you're almost impossible to hit. It's very hard to deal with, very impressive to deal with like that, and very good, though. I want to mention that. It's quite good. But if you are a pistol god, you can just deal with almost any DPS that come to the backline to deal with you. And your range with your pistol doesn't really have any drop-off, so you can kill people at further ranges than what they can kill you, for the most part, which is also kind of good about that. Now, a thing I want to mention as well, though, is the fact that right now, with her damage boost, she can essentially, for the most part, give your entire team enough damage that it's kind of like putting a Discord on all the enemies. Which, yeah, you could just assume that's strong. If your team just wants to try to get some picks, if your team wants to just try to get a lot of damage out, maybe your team has like a, you know, Graviton into Pharah ult or something, yeah, you can just put a Discord on everyone at the same time, essentially. You know, you don't actually put a Discord there, but the damage that you boost for your team is essentially like that. As well like that, it's kind of like getting an Ana ult, but for your whole team, of minus, you know, the damage reduction, which is kind of dumb. It's not quite as good, but it's kind of similar. And overall, if you damage boost all 5 of your teammates, you are giving a lot more damage boost than just a single Ana ult. And as well with that, it's essentially just an Orisa ult that's better, for the most part, because Orisa ult is very easy to take down, has very small range, and yeah, Mercy can be completely safe, all the way in the back line, damage boost everybody up. Yeah, you can see how that is just pretty good compared to just an Orisa ult. They're both decent, but yeah. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is that now, as well, you know, just flying away and doing everything and only having hit scan killing her, it's kind of hard to deal with. Now she can just stick, as I said earlier today, or I guess yesterday, she can just stick with the Pharah, and it's very hard to deal with. The Pharah can even go very aggressive, but especially if she's passive, and the Mercy is just being super far away, where you can't really see the Mercy as she's healing the Pharah, it's so hard to deal with. Mercy and Pharah can just both be above where all the houses are or whatever on certain maps, and Mercy can just be where you can't see her as, you know, a DPS main, but Mercy can see the Pharah. She can heal her from super far away, and even if you happen to kill the Pharah, let's say that you kill the Pharah, well, she can res, and if she wasn't already ulting, you can kill the Pharah again, and then she can res again, and that's ridiculous in my opinion. Mercy right now, I feel like, can definitely pocket a lot better than old Mercy could. And I don't know really how I feel about that. I mean, it's good. It definitely makes her better. It makes it that she can make a lot of these characters that aren't dive characters, I feel like, a lot stronger, like Bastion, McCree, but mainly Pharah. I feel like it's going to become a lot stronger. But I guess we're going to kind of have to see with that. But yeah, I feel like the res, just as a final thing, is still very strong. And in a lot of cases, is just as good or better than the old res. Just because, you know, you can pocket certain characters more. Of course, I'm not going to say it is better than the old res. You know, 5-man reses, that is much better. But the amount of frequency that you get this thing, it just seems way too high for the amount of just life-giving that it gives. And the amount of pocketing that you can do. So, I don't know. You know, and the ultimate does reset your res cooldown. So, you do essentially have a 10-second res cooldown if you do have your ultimate up. So, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. At least for a little while. But anyways, those are at least my own opinions about this ultimate. As you can see, there's a lot of really good stuff about it, and I feel like the problem is that there's not way too much counterplay with it, and it's not way too hard to use as well. All you really have to do is just stay really far in the back line and heal people. And, you know, if your team is well, if you get in trouble, you can fly straight to your team from essentially any range, and, you know, your team can come back to try to save you as well. It's very hard to deal with. If you know how to position with this, I feel like it's going to be a very good ult that's just hard to deal with. Again, I feel like that's the main words that we gotta say. Pretty overpowered, just because, you know, when you think about all this stuff, it's just not just hard to deal with, it's just insanely hard to deal with. There you go. Best quote of the year. But at least that's my own personal opinion about Mercy and these new changes. But please do tell me your own in the comments section down below. Do you think the ult's too good? Do you still think the ult, you know, is just balanced in the way it is? Or what do you think about this new ult? Of course, a lot of people complain that the old ult was too overpowered, and probably the best ult in the game. So maybe Mercy just has to be on a trend where she always has the best ults. I don't know. I guess we're going to see with that. But anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.